kind of explain that and introduce it and say some words about why he's here today. This is all right. Just 1, 2. First of all, I would like to thank you, Kevin, for allowing us a few minutes today. It's been a few years since... Can't hear. Not working. It's not working. Well, do I need to talk louder? Yeah. I'll talk like our father talked. There you go. There you go. And he sat right here. It's funny that my brother. But first of all, I want to thank Kevin for allowing us a few moments today. With me today is my brother Tom, his wife Sue, my sister-in-law Christine, my really great dear friend Lynn Penwell Seaton. And Lynn and I were confirmed here in 1962, along with a number of people. Dee Dee's son Randall was in our class, Don Rudy, Kathy Starr was in our class, dear friend of Lynn's. So we have many memories of this church. Leaving here in 1971, I attended Eden Theological Seminary in Webster Groves, Missouri. Kevin was talking about Martin, and I've had the pleasure of meeting and worshiping with Martin, and quoted him in the sermon today. Paul Schlieder was one of our pastors, and we remember him, Dee Dee. Paul had sent me down in 1969 when I received a call to go into ministry, and he thought it would be best for me to travel to St. Louis and attend Eden rather than Andover Newton. He thought that it might serve me and my values and the values of my family better if we were to go to St. Louis. It's resulted in a series of events which bring us here today. Kevin, in conversation on the phone, described them as, I think, serendipitous, occurring in an accidental yet pleasing way that perhaps you have no control over, but what happens is for the benefit of all. My brother and sister-in-law, Tom and Sue, shared with me an old business adage, and I have kind of changed it to be deliberate, be informative, and live for just a little while. Their version, I think, is what? Be brief. Be brilliant, which is hard for me, and be gone. What minister can do that? No minister can do that. I wanted to thank you for your words this morning. They were very thoughtful and very informative. It's seldom that ministers are able to sit with congregants, and it's a much different perspective, for sure. But they're very, very thoughtful. Let's see. 1985, Kevin arrived at a small rural church in south central Illinois. Served that church for 4 years. And as my career in ministry is ending, I have been at that same church for 15 years in Plum Hill Township, St. John's Evangelical and Reformed United Church of Christ. Kevin is thought of still, perhaps more, your children by the members, those who babysat for you. Okay, Donna Hochstadt wanted me to say hello. Yeah. Ruth Ann Richards wanted to say, I got all these text messages last evening of people from my church who wanted to extend greetings to you. Great. I have a few things to share with the church. We came here for a reason. We wanted to show our appreciation to Trinity. Seeds are planted by this church and have been planted over the years. And you just never know how those seeds or when those seeds will come into fruition. 20, 30 years from now, there'll be someone like me who will stand before you and also share their joy in growing up in this church and running around here and being instructed and learning from some great Klein, Reverend Dan Orn. You have a history of great, thoughtful ministers. But we wanted to come back today and make a small donation to your breakfast program. One of the things we do as a small rural church is we were instrumental in setting up a food pantry out in south central Illinois in our region. And food in hunger is important, and I know it is at your church, having your breakfast program. So we wanted to, as a family, make a donation in the memory of our father, Glenn, our mother, Alice. 26 years ago, they were remembered in funeral services here and buried at the Worcester Cemetery. And our dear beloved brother, Robert Allen Jones. All of us were confirmed here, as long as I said, with Lynn and I in 1962. Tom, of course, is older. He may not appear older than I am, but he is, in fact, older than I am. Why don't you just hold this? Let me get my whole bag here. Things. This has surely changed. Remember, the rails were up here and here, and the rail came over here and over here. And I don't know if any of you remember, Dee Dee, you might remember this. Reverend Kyle, there was one of these moments, and we learned as ministers about these moments. This was carpeted, and Reverend Dr. Kyle, had just taken the communion trays off the altar, and the bottom tray fell, and all the grape juice back then was all over the carpet. It was a great oops moment. You've never done anything like that, no? Well, first of all, let me get some things out of the way here. And I don't want to take too much of your time. This book, and I have no idea why Shirley Clary, which is one of our members who lives, Plum Hill is a population of about 5 people, and Shirley just lives down the road.
That's true.
It's really true. We are very rural. We're called a membership church because everybody who comes has to pay membership dues. Otherwise, our church wouldn't survive. And so if you don't pay dues, we say you have to pay to play. You have to pay to come to church. But Shirley Clary wanted you to have this book. And she writes, "This old autobiography has been here forever. Thought you might enjoy." It's the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin.
Oh boy.
And that edition is 1941. And in it, it's marked at page 85, which he was a good Presbyterian. He never attended church, or he seldom attended church, because he didn't agree with what the minister said. He said that, and this is a Presbyterian minister, he said the Presbyterian minister was more interested in preaching how to be a good Presbyterian than be a good citizen. Now, your sermon today was about being a good citizen. It was excellent. Shirley will be proud of it. Now,
I can't take that text.
let's see, what else we have in here? Now, I was thinking about something to give you, and because we love to, the last time I was here, I brought you, I think, apple butter. Now, I thought, well, I could go through my collection and give you my favorite Herb Score baseball card from 1959, but I thought, no. Or Rocky Colavito. Back in the day when Topps made baseball cards, he would always show a picture of a great play. This is Rocky Colavito catching a ball near the stands in New York Stadium. But I can give you this. This is one of my favorite Rocky Colavito pictures.
All right.
From 1959. But more than that, I want you to remember where you came from. And some of you don't know much about the St. Louis Cardinals. But one of the great Cardinals of recent years was Albert Pujols. And I had this framed for Kevin. I want you to keep it in your home or your office as a reminder of where you came from. Okay? You're welcome. And most important,
I thought the church was going to get stuck.
the best is, now let me see, were there any other instructions, Tom, when you wrote me? I don't think. Be brief, be brilliant, be gone. This is a check, a show you this picture, Don. You might remember Lynn. Well, I see a daughter. This goes back a few years.
Yes.
In confirmation class.
I think I got one.
I hope you do. I hope you do. This was given to all of us. But this is my 8th grade confirmation notebook that I've kept with all my sermon notes from when Reverend Kyle and Reverend Klein preached. And I use it even today with my confirmation class at Plum Hill. There's a lot of scribbling and a lot of doodling because I had a little attention deficit. It's wonderful. But I wanted to draw you out because of your daughter being in our confirmation class, and I know how much Lynn appreciated the relationship and also knowing you, and you were good friends with the Penwell family. Right across the street. God bless you. Good to see you. That's it.
All right, well, it's great. You never know how people's paths will cross, and so it was an interesting circumstances that Don came to be at the church that I first served,
And we have a
found out that he was from Worcester.
And we have a worship night every November. It's a big sausage dinner for $8. You can all the mashed potatoes. It's the healthiest meal that you'd ever want. With all the pork sausage and sauerkraut. But this gentleman, they said Kevin was coming back to see us he was at Springfield at the time. And I knew it was him because he walked into the room with his Cleveland Indians cap. I said, that guy's all right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So great.
Yeah, you've done a good thing. We have a lot of breakfasts that we serve here. A lot of the folks here who work in the breakfast program are here, and I know they all appreciate the support financially and morally. It's wonderful to have you.
Thomas Campbell, I think it's his name, once said, "The living hearts we leave behind is not to die." That's a popular headstone encryption, but more than that, really, for you to live in my heart, this church has never died in my mind. Appreciate it.